Principal won't let girl go to father's funeral? This is not my story. This is my girlfriend's story from school, almost 10 years ago. Our cast and crew are EP, entitled Principal/Parent, K, Principal's kid, G, my girlfriend, and S, my girlfriend's sister. Me and my girlfriend were talking about traumatic events in our lives. I talked about my narcissistic mother and my entitled extended family, and after a couple of stories, she told me this story. So back in 7th grade, my girlfriend was helping 4th and 5th graders after school with lessons, homework, etc. One of them was K. He was apparently a shy kid that was really smart, but wouldn't speak at the blackboard, so he had a ton of problems. After hearing this story, I understand why he was so shy. Anyway, in the month of May, my girlfriend's dad died because of leukemia, and at the end of May, it was his funeral. My girlfriend and her sister were destroyed by this and were discouraged from doing these private lessons after school. On Thursday 29th, girlfriend and her sister told the principal that they wouldn't be coming on Friday because of the funeral. The principal's kid was sitting at the computer in the same room. This is the conversation, not 100% because this happened back in 2008. Principal, we came to tell you that we can't come to school because of the funeral on Friday. Oh, that's okay. You'll still come to teach at the school after classes, right? We can't. My sister and I will be where my dad grew up to bury him. What? Then who will teach my son for his exams? In Romania, you have like a small exam every 2 grades until the 8th grade. Your son is the smartest kid in class. He doesn't need us, he's just shy. I don't care. You won't leave school on Friday or I will kick you out. In that moment, my girlfriend snapped. How about you shut up and let us go see our father for the last time before he's buried? You're the reason your kid's so shy. You are controlling every single movement he does. My girlfriend then began crying and breaking down while the entitled parent/principal was screaming back and her sister was defending the girlfriend, and at that moment, that's when the kid finally stood up against his mother. Mum, let them go. It's their last chance to see their father. You would do the same if it was your father. The entitled parent was red as a tomato, but then she calmed down and let them go on Friday. When my girlfriend and her sister's mother heard what had happened, she was livid. On Monday, when they came back, apparently my girlfriend's mum went to the principal's office and went crazy. Her mum went to the Minister of Education in Iasi and managed to get the entitled parent fired during summer and managed to make it so she couldn't get into education again. After school ended in June, they immediately moved to private school the next year. Hope you guys like this story, even if it's not like the usual. Our next story was posted by user UnoriginalUse, titled, Entitled Mother Demands My Drink for Her Kid. Gets mad when she finds out I spoke the truth about it being alcoholic. Now, for a bit of context. Last weekend was Liberation Day in Holland, and many cities were having festivals to celebrate. Most of these festivals have free entrance, so they tend to crack down on people bringing their food and drinks, to increase profits per beverage sales. A mate of mine lives within the area where the festival is taking place though, so usually we drop our booze at his place and retrieve it during the festival. Since it didn't seem like a terrific idea to walk around with a bottle of Jack Daniels, I mixed it into a 1-litre Coke vanilla bottle with just enough Coke that it looked like Coke, and went on to the festival grounds. I'm assuming everybody is familiar with the common abbreviations. JD is my good friend Jack Daniels. We've been through a lot together. Amen, brother, amen, so have I. While walking around with the bottle of Coke, I feel a tap on my shoulder. Festival etiquette is to move over to the side to let somebody pass, after which I move along. I suddenly feel a hand grabbing my shoulder and trying to pull me back. So I turn around and I'm faced with a typical Karen. Where'd you get that? Pointing at the bottle. Oh, brought it from home. Can my kid have some? Me not wanting everybody to know that I had booze on me says, oh, they sell Coke over there. You can buy your kid a fresh, cold one. They don't sell vanilla Coke over there, and he doesn't like the regular one. He wants yours. And holds out a hand. Well, if he doesn't like the regular one, pretty sure he won't like this any better. Meanwhile, The kid has started squealing about how he's thirsty and wants that one. And the entitled mother starts giving me a demanding stare. Okay, lady, I'm gonna be honest with you. Half of this bottle is whiskey, and I don't think it's a good idea to give your kid whiskey. You're lying! You just made that up so you wouldn't have to share with my baby. Now give it to me! While I kind of shrug and turn away in an attempt to disappear into the crowd, the kid grabs the bottle with both hands, wrenches it from my hand, and makes a run for it, with his mum in tow. I follow them, and I find them just in time to see the kid take a few massive swigs from the bottle, after which he starts violently throwing up almost immediately. Figuring the best move for me would be to not further pursue the now vomit-covered bottle of Jack and Coke, I decide to head over to my mates and mix a new one. In passing, I throw the entitled mother a "told you" and make my way into the crowds. Within seconds, the entitled mother charges me and starts attempting to take a swing at me. You poisoned my baby! Security! We're separated by bystanders, and a stall holder gets security, which questions both me and the entitled mother. He gave my baby a bottle of poison and told him it was Coke. I want him arrested. Sir, what's in this bottle? A pre-mixed whiskey and Coke, somewhat on the generous side with the whiskey. And why did you give that to a kid? I didn't, sir. I was mostly planning on getting smashed myself, to be fair. They thought it was Coke. Wouldn't believe me when I told them it was booze, and snatched the bottle from me. What you're seeing here is just the result of a kid taking a drink before I was able to stop him. At this point, a bystander chimes in, confirming that he saw the kid snatch the bottle from my hand, although he hadn't heard the conversation. Security tells the mum to not pull that crap again, to take her kid still crying to the first aid post, and instructs me to be more careful with the next batch I'm inevitably about to make. Our next story was posted by user eyeball-jupe, titled, Entitled Father Fudgin' Tries to Use My Gift to My Mum as his own gift to her for Mother's Day. Freak, 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 freak! I'm livid. Fudging livid. So I woke up at 6:30 AM to place my Mother's Day card and her gift on her bed while she and my father were eating downstairs. So after placing the things on her bed, I head back down to my own bed to sleep and wait for her to find the gift on her own. Meanwhile, I hear my parents arguing downstairs about God knows what. Not my problem, right? I head off to dreamland, but I am awoken by angry footsteps stomping up the stairs, and my mother swinging my door open. Do you even appreciate me? Do you love me? Yes, did you check your bed? There's nothing there. You didn't do anything for me today. Not even write me a card. I wrote you a card and you got something special. I left them on your bed. This causes her to check her bed again. You're a liar and a horrible daughter. Me, now looking around her room for the gift, saying, I don't know where they went. I promised I left them there. My mum is now crying, saying, Your father finally gave me a nice present after all of these years, and this is the first year I don't receive crap from you. So I take it upon myself to investigate every part of her room. No gift. I head downstairs to ask my father whether he has seen my gift, and then he fudgin' sits, hunched over the kitchen table eating his cereal. ED equals entitled dad. Hey honey! Can you help me look for mum's gift? I left it on her bed, but now it's gone. I think the cat might have grabbed it or something. My dad is whispering now, says, Actually honey, I took your gift. Sheepish grin. I forgot to get her something this year, so I gave her your gift. But I'll get you something really nice today from that bookstore you like to make it up to you, babe. You what? That wasn't your gift, that was mine. I'm gonna tell her what you did. Oh no, heck you won't. Why would you cause a big fight on a happy day? Don't cause fighting, and I'll buy you something nice to make up for the gift. At this point, I don't fudging care. I bolt upstairs with the gift in my hand and give it to my crying mother. I explained to her what my dad did and that the gift was from me and not him. So, this escalated into a gigantic yelling match between the two of them. Attention, attention! I have a hot update. He fudging bought her this $200 slimming tea, mid-argument. Wow, fudgy outstanding move! Oh, crap has hit the fudging ceiling now. Update 2, they reconciled, but it was like my mum feels helpless because my dad won't stop saying sorry until she says I forgive you, so it's a reconciliation in a sense, but at the same time it's really not. Update 3, he came into my room and asked for forgiveness. I figure I'll eventually forgive him. What are your thoughts? Here's a big fat edit to the disbelieving Redditors. 1. My handwriting is nearly identical to my father's. It is hard to find any distinction between the two, if you looked at them side by side for comparison. So it is pretty easy to believe that something my dad wrote was written by me, and vice versa. 2. I coincidentally did not leave any signs that acknowledged me as the sender. I just wrote her a poem inside a card that addressed her in third person, such as, "A mother is beautiful, kind, and intelligent," etc. So I didn't leave a "Love, eyeball-jupe," or a "Dear Mom" in the greeting and closing. But here's the funny thing, I am the only one in this household that writes poetry. My dad has never written poetry in his life. You would think that that would be enough to signal a red flag in my mother's mind, but I suspect she was just so overjoyed at such sweet words coming from her not-so-sweet husband that she didn't question the validity of the poem. These are just guesses. For the record, I'm just as stunned as you all are that she believed my dad wrote the poem and gave her a pair of earrings, not her English-loving and fashion-forward daughter. Our next story was brought to you by PuffMaNOwYeah. Titled, "Kid Finds a Bike in My Backyard. Mom Goes Berserk When I Take It Back." Frequently asked questions. I'm the father, as in male. We had potatoes with peas and carrots with sausage for dinner. Yes, I'm a male that knows how to cook. The bike will never be left unattended outside. Yes. I have a sturdy lock. I located and took a picture of the serial number. Backstory. I'm a single parent. I have a beautiful girl that's turning 5 in August. The past year, I've been fighting with my ex that tried to keep my kid away from me. Lawyers aren't cheap, and being single doesn't exactly help with my finances. A couple of months ago, I won the lawsuit and I finally got to have my kid at home again. For the past few weeks, she was saying she wanted a bicycle, but still recovering from the lawsuit bills, I wasn't able to afford it. Past week, I got my summer bonus, which finally gave me the financial boost I needed. So yesterday, I was finally able to buy my little girl her bike she wanted so badly. I enjoyed my time with her riding our bikes, but then it was getting time for dinner, which I still had to make. So we head back home and park the bikes in the back of the yard. We go inside and I start making dinner. After about 10 minutes, I spot movement in the corner of my eye through the kitchen window. That's on the side of the house. I see this kid, guessing 6 or 7 years old, just casually strolling by with the brand new bike I just got today. My heart dropped, and I run to the front door, hoping to catch him before he rides away. I was lucky I did. I yanked the bike out of his hands and freaked out to him, saying it was mine and that he had no right to just walk into other people's backyard and take things. I was ticked. I forced him to get the frick out of my property and set the bike inside my front hallway, thinking it's over. Boy, was I wrong. After comforting my little girl that never saw me this mad, poor thing, I returned to the kitchen to continue making dinner. 15 minutes later, doorbell rings. Bim bum! It's the kid and his evil mother. "You give my boy this bike back. He found it, it's his." He found it in my backyard. I got it for my kid today. You should try teaching your dang kid some manners. He shouldn't trespass on other people's property to take their things. Don't tell me how to raise my kid. Give me the bike back or I'm calling the police. Call the damn police! And I slam the door in her face. By this point, my 4-year-old is crying her eyes out, and I get to comfort her again, as she's thinking she's losing her brand new bike. Her sobbing finally over, I try continuing to make dinner yet again. Preparation's done. I'm about to put this all on the stove. Doorbell. Bim boom. I flip out, storm to the door, violently opening it to get ready to just explode in that bench's face. Guess what, guys? She actually called the cops. I instantly calm down when I see it's the police and invite one of the two officers inside while the other stays with the evil woman. I explain the situation and show him the box the bike came in, along with the receipt that has my name on it. He shrugs and apologized for the inconvenience, assured me that I won't be bothered again. I let him out and close the door with a smug smile on my face. I check the front window to see what's happening, and I see her go into full tantrum. It ends with her into handcuffs and on the back seat of the patrol car. Bye, Felicia! Don't know what happened to her, and I don't care. I finally finished dinner, and my kid still has her bike. That's all that matters to me. Boy, what a day. Our next story was posted by user Clariano6. My dad felt my savings should go to my brother. So this happened a couple of years ago, but it still just hurts. My dad and I have never really seen eye to eye. He grew up with no sisters and an awful mother figure, and none of his friends have daughters, only sons. I don't blame him for struggling to raise a girl when he had absolutely no reference point, but he didn't need to show blatant favoritism towards my brother. I've always been the black sheep a little. My parents and younger brother have always been this nice little trio. My brother is a mummy's boy, but dad dotes him on regardless. He's 4 years younger than me. I'm 18, he's 14. I've struggled to find my place in the family. Even my standing as which sibling I am isn't certain because my dad accidentally impregnated a girl at 19, had my half-brother, and I was born 14 years later. My older brother was enough in my life that I don't feel like the oldest child, but not enough to feel like the middle. I'm just dad's retrial at parenting, and my brother is the beneficiary of all his practice. Now aside from that little rant, the actual story. My brother and I are very musical. I play a multitude of instruments. He just plays saxophone, and he's good, always has been. He suffered classic younger sibling syndrome. We were in a much better financial position when I began playing clarinet that I got a really good beginner intermediate model that I still play today. When he started about 4 years later, things had gotten tight. So he had to rent his from the local concert band, and it wasn't great. Originally it was fine, because my parents didn't want to invest in something he might not commit to, but he did and loved it. At this point I was 15, and I'd been working for 2 years at a local sports club, earning less than minimum wage because I was underage, working my ass off and saving a pretty hefty percentage of my income. My father, who felt responsible for my job since he knew the owner, but I'd actually gotten the job myself, decided he was entitled to my savings, about $500 at the time. His exact words were, "We could use your savings to buy your brother a better saxophone." God, it crushed me. First of all, you cannot get a sax better than the one he has for only $500. Secondly, what kind of father asks one child to give up practically 2 years of work for another? It made me feel like he had more pride or hope for his son than his daughter's savings should be contributed towards it. Even though at the time I was saving for a student-level clarinet, and he knew that. He never offered to pay the money back or anything, and thankfully, after I asked Mum what she thought of it and she lost her mind, it was never brought up again. Though he has asked for my savings since then, and I've said no. Can't wait to move out next year. Edit, so I should make a couple of things clear. My father didn't actually take the money. Mum shut that situation down real quick, but it didn't stop him from asking and trying to manipulate me into giving them up for a long time. I live in New Zealand, and my accounts have been in my name since I was 13. My parents have just as much right to them as the stranger across the street. Absolutely zero. Credit isn't really a thing here, so that's not an issue either. Can't believe all the attention this got, and thanks for all the advice, guys. Edit number 2. I have half a year of high school left, and then next year I'm moving 8 hours away to university. So that's where my savings are going, and I can't move out now. Also, to explain the minimum wage situation, in New Zealand, minimum wage is $17.70, and it tends to go up every year. However, you don't have to pay minimum wage to employees under the age of 16. You can pay them whatever you want. I started on $10 an hour at age 13, and nearly a year into the job, I went up to $14.25, as that was the current minimum wage. And that's where my wage stayed until I turned 16, even when the minimum wage rose. Our next story was posted by user Milkshakepirate, titled, "Entitled Mother Tries to Stop Me Getting Into My Home, Gets Owned." Context: I live in the center of a town that does a yearly half marathon. The marathon route basically traps me in my building as it goes on the road around it, which I need to cross to reach the rest of town. It has been taking place years and was here before me, so I'm not bothered by it. I just avoid leaving my building until most of the runners have gone. On this day, I had an errand to run, but was going out in the afternoon, so was forced to push through the crowds on the pavements to then wait and cross through the runners. I managed to get to the shops and do what I needed to do. On my way back, it started hailing a crazy amount. Huge stones that made the ground look like it had been snowed on. Spectators were sheltering underneath shop awnings, including the one above the door to my building, where a mum and her 2 young children were standing. Cast, me, Mighty Elmo, and EM, Evil Mutton. "Excuse me, sorry." So British, eh? "Can I just quickly get through?" The entitled mother looks absolutely furious. "No! Find your own spot, we're standing here." Fair enough, the door isn't too obvious. "No, I actually live in this building, so we just need to get through that door." "I don't think so. These are offices. I work in them. Don't try and fool me and my girls into moving for you." They are not offices, so Lord knows why she'd say that. She's still in my way. "I really do live here. Look, I have my keys and can open the door." "No, can you just pee off and go somewhere else?" She's being loud so everyone nearby can hear and is staring. "Look, I really do just want to get into my home. Everyone is looking at us now, so if I am just trying to get you out of the way, I don't think they'll put up with it. Do you?" "Fine. Remember, everyone's looking." She moves, so I put the key into my door, and, careless surprise, it opens. I give the entitled mother a little wave as I walk through and clock a couple of onlookers stifling some laughter. After all that, the entitled mother immediately walks off with her 2 daughters into the hail. And our last story was posted by user JustPeachy03, titled, "Child's Pizza and Cupcakes Are More Important Than an Emergency." I love the stories in this sub. I work with an entitled parent, but she's never irritated me the way she did today. A little context, I work in a corporate office with the big bosses, and I'm one of 3 assistants. 2 of us work in HR, and the other is the executive assistant, EA, for the boss and his wife. She is the star of my story. In her home country, she comes from an elite family. I've been told that she grew up with servants, so she doesn't know any better. She does not work, and mostly focuses on her clique and making sure she has the proper paint color for the bedrooms in their new house. She has a car and a license, and has all day, every day to plan things. Does she plan? Oh, no! Why plan when we have assistants? She's lived in the US for 20 plus years, so that is why I have a low tolerance for her antics. 20 years is ample time to learn some customs. A woman in her mid-40s can still learn to be better. The executive assistant does work for the entire office and all of our remote workers. She is not a personal assistant. Her job description is to complete tasks at the office and then to help the wife when she can. The wife is not a priority, and that is quite literally specific to the job description. The wife calls the executive assistant at around 1 PM today. The assistant and I are just leaving to take our lunch hour, and we have an appointment for pedicures. The wife said she needs cupcakes and pizza for her son's last day of school, as they are taking him out a few weeks early to travel back to their home country for the summer. Why they can't wait until school is over, I'll never know. The kid misses so much school that it's disgusting, but that's a different story for a different day. So the executive assistant says, "Yes, we'll order the food now, and then go on our lunch hour, so then it will be ready to pick up when we're done. Oh, no, that just won't do. We need it by 1:50. Great planning, lady. Thank you for the 50-minute heads up to feed 22 children. We were entitled to the full hour for lunch, so we're taking it. We are over her crap and do not move any faster than we have to for her. So we get our petties in peace and head out to the store to get the food. Meanwhile, she's called us at 1:50 asking where we are. We told you we're on our lunch hour, and the food would be ready in an hour. We are pulling into the parking lot of the store now. We're coming. Then it happens. This poor old woman just lost her footing and face-planted on the asphalt in front of us. I slammed on the brakes, and the executive assistant jumped out of my passenger seat to help. I park and get out to hear her screaming in pain. She manages to get out that she has Parkinson's, and we decided to call 911 as appropriate. I'm giving details to the operator while the executive assistant is comforting her and telling her not to move, and that its help is on its way. The poor woman was just shocked and slightly hysterical, and it was really hard to watch. There was a small pool of blood, but it was pooling nonetheless, and we couldn't tell where it was coming from because she was covered in gravel as well. Then the wife calls again. I'm the one to answer at this point and inform her of the emergency and that since we were witnesses, there might be a report. We're at the store, we know you need the food, but the ambulance isn't here yet and we're going to stay with her. We need the food! It was supposed to be here by 1:50! Yup, got it, great, click. After all is said and done, there's a happy ending. Another good Samaritan was able to contact the old woman's husband, and she was going to take it from there. The paramedics had arrived, and they were working with her to prop her up and get her information. She was lucid and even cracked a joke. We gave our information to the workers for a possible incident report, and we left because the cupcakes and pizza were more important. A third call from the wife comes in as I'm finding a different parking spot away from the chaos. Where are we? Still at the fudging grocery store. We're trying to politely but sternly tell her there was an emergency. What do you not understand? We finally get the food and go to the school at around 2:30 p.m. just to see that she's been there the entire time and hasn't moved an inch from the lobby. Mind you, the kids have already eaten lunch and had recess like 3 hours ago. Remember when I said she doesn't plan? This is the crap she pulls. Why alert the executive assistant at 1 p.m. on the very last possible day? The assistant could have had this mapped out perfectly if she had more than an hour's notice. We carry the food to the classroom, and if that teacher could have killed us right then and there, he would have. I felt bad for the teacher. He didn't know what our ordeal was, and frankly, he probably didn't care. In the most defeated voice he says, "Okay, class. I guess we'll take a break now." The wife is smiling like she won Miss Fudging Universe and has no social awareness that other adults in the room are beyond annoyed. The executive assistant and I noped out of there so fast to avoid the suffocating tension in the room. I normally am never with the executive assistant for these tasks, but I'm thankful that I was with her today for the sake of the injured woman. Both her and I are counting the days until this family is out of our lives for good. As far as the kid goes, he's an entitled kid all the way, but he didn't play a significant role in this story. If this goes over well, I might have more juicy stories about these people. They're all real pieces of work.
It doesn't matter if she's dying, we need food.
Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed that story. Tell me what you think about it in the comments. Tell me what you're looking forward to next. Let's have a chat. Anyway, I'll see you in the next episode, and until next time, bye.